Yeah, the emotional players, the same thing that makes you great will make you break, man. It's just situational. You got to be
Mm.
able to balance it out, and I think that's his
Well,
problem.
okay. So let me ask you a personal question then, Gio. What
So,
motivates you then? Since we're talking about motivation, how you take, what motivates you to, just for whatever it is?
um, I think me, it's I'm pretty simple, right? Like I'm not a guy that wants fame, fortune, all that stuff. I want to be sufficient, right? Like we talked about, my retirement situation. I could make a lot of money, right? I've got the experience and I could use my military training and all this other stuff that I've learned to get a really great job. But
Mhm.
what I would do is I would settle for less money for something that gives me more um, pride, fulfillment, stuff like that, right? So I don't need a lot. And I think as long as I have purpose, and I'm able to help people, and give insight to people that want, the golden nuggets, as I said in the last episode, I got a lot of golden nuggets. If you want that, I can give that to people. So that's my drive, is as long as I got purpose, because military is
Mm.
all about mission and getting the job done and having pride in the work that you do. That
Right.
that's really it for me. What about you?
For me, it's a lot of things. Um, and I think the answer you normally hear is like, your family, right? Uh, but honestly, me, it's like anything that anytime I'm stuck or anytime uh, I need some sort of pet talk or, all I have to do is just think about my mom. That just does it for me. I don't have to talk to her. Just thinking about it, where she came from, what she's been through, and where she is now. To me, that's just enough to keep me motivated, and everything else falls in place. Um, yeah, man. Like, it's because I don't want to get too personal, and the only reason I asked you this is because we're talking about using, the social media like Brady to motivate yourself. But yeah, for me, it's simple, man. Just one thought of my mom, I'm good to go. It don't matter what it is. I remember when I was in junior high, man, I was like, damn, I just played football. I'm tired, and I had a big soccer game, and I'm just like, oh my god, bro, my mom. That was the only game my mom ever watched me play. Man, I got up so fast. I was like, my mother never showed up to any game. And I seen her, dude. I scored 7 goals that day. I had a player that played for the New England Revolution professional team who was actually watching. And he came up to me, he said, hey man, I was told to come watch you play. And I'm like, but you're Jair. He goes, yeah, I know, I'm Jair. I was like, but you play for Revolution. He goes, yeah. Somebody told me to come watch you play. And that was the day my mom was there. Like, that's all I need, man. Mom is motivation for me, man. And
Yeah,
that
that's
goes to like, you know, um, like you said, just like giving nuggets. I'm kind of the same way too. But that all comes from just being motivated by moms and how she is, and I take some of that trait as well, being helpful, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
that
I
will do
mean,
it for me.
no, that's awesome stuff, right? Like, and I think a lot of people are like that, and it goes to show, like, you were tired, and it took whatever that motivation was. In your case, it was your mom showing up, that you just, it's like that Aaron Donald pep talk. You ran through a wall, right? In this case, you just went all out, and people,
Yeah.
they weren't playing with the same energy and motivation as you were, right? And that's what Tom Brady did, right? So, but I think we both mentioned the same thing about, like, kind of giving back, and I think it's part of, folks our age, right? When you're like 20, it's kind of about you and your experience and your growth and your learning stuff, right?
Hmm.
And be figuring out who you are, right? Because the first 20 years, you're trying to figure out who you are within the world, within your family household, and you're constricted from, you got your bedtime, you got when you got to be home, and you got to do this, you got to do your chores. You're not really free to fully embrace who you are and grow and learn, right? So then when you
Hmm.
become an adult, that's usually around like 20, when you're finally out the house, right? and you have your own house and you're doing your own thing. Now you're making your own decisions. You make your own curfew. You do all these things, and you spend the next 18 or so years um, exploring those things, learning about who you are, right? And then once you get to like that next stage, and your kids are like our kids' age, right? Um, you start to transition a little bit more of like, those of us who just want to help other people and say, hey, when I was 20, I didn't have this advice, right? So now that I'm at this stage, I can help someone at the age of 20 not make
Right.
the same mistakes and get a head start on whatever advice, because things that we had wrapping through our brains, who are you going to ask? You're going to ask the other 20-year-old, the other 22-year-old. We may not have had somebody older like regularly available to give you that info, right? We didn't
Right.
have social media to have these conversations to go, where do I find out about XYZ, right?
Hmm.
We didn't have YouTube to teach us how to tie a tie. Like, you had to go ask somebody. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, now you just go right there and it's on there. But that's what I'm saying is like, we're at the age where we do want to give back. We do want to help other people. And that's kind of just where I'm at. And I think that's what's going to, give me the most fulfillment for myself and what I'm doing moving forward.
Yeah, I think as you said that, I start to think about all the times, probably you and I chilled and crazy stuff we probably experienced together. And I always say, man, we're lucky, and and I think and like you said, you're trying to find yourself at that age. I think we're still lucky to have a voice here, a voice here. It wasn't like we didn't have that voice. Oh, we certainly did. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can. I'll share this. I'll share. I really don't care. I remember one time you and I we went to my house. We went to East. I played in the basketball tournament, right? I don't know if you remember that. Then from after the basketball tournament, we went to your house. After your house, we went to my house. Soon as my mother opened the door, pow! Where have you been? You know.
Hmm.
Uh, but like I said, I think about like as you was talking, I was thinking about. I was like, at the same time, we're lucky though because we did have some voices.
Right.
Whether you choose to listen, but we did have voices there. You know, I think there's people that don't have that at all. And
Absolutely.
they can get lost
Absolutely.
quickly.
Hmm.
And if they do wrong, sometimes they don't know they're doing wrong, or they don't know how they're affecting somebody else or themselves. So we're lucky to have some voices, man, big brothers, and I think just hanging around the people that you love and trust helps as well. Because I think, you, myself, a couple of people that we used to hang out with, man, I think we're lucky and fortunate to have each other. Um, Even though if we didn't give each other like some sort of opinion on this, on that, but just being around each other
Yeah, absolutely.
sometimes just good enough to say, you know what, let me chill here because these guys, they're these they're this type of people, and I know they're not gonna be doing anything crazy, put me in harm's way. Um, and so I think we're lucky to have that circle of friends, and when we're young and chilling out, because I think things could go left pretty easy in life.
Yeah.
Easy.
That reminds me of when I watched the interview on I Am Athlete with Marshawn Lynch, right?
Yep.
And I watched in the chats and that thing, everybody was like, protect. When they say when someone's so great, you're great. When people say protect Marshawn Lynch at all costs, he's a national treasure,
I
right?
already know.
there's there's like there's lots of people that people talk about that. Like Ryan Reynolds is another one, right? And he's another one, right? And I'll get back to like why I think that is in a minute, because I want to talk about that, but I want to get
Mhm.
to the point where I brought it up. He was talking about a point. Fred had asked him a question, and he was like, what happened when? How did beast mode become beast mode? Because beast mode wasn't beast mode in Tennessee, and he was kind of becoming beast mode in Buffalo, but
Yep.
didn't become beast mode until he got to Seattle.
Seahawks. Yep.
And he was like, his answer essentially was like, he's like, something was missing. He's like, something was missing. I didn't know what it was. And long story short, he was just like, I called my mom and I talked to her, right? Because he
Hmm.
was a self-proclaimed mama's boy or whatever the case is. And he's like, all of a sudden, it was just like he felt full. right? He
Hmm.
felt, full and like complete. And he was like, I hadn't talked to my mom like that in a long time. And then when he did, and that kind of helped kind of catapult him moving forward. And then he realized he needed that connection because he was a mama's boy and he could just tell her anything. He could be like, whoop de whoop, as he said, and
Yeah.
that's what I love about Marshawn. But like that is important. Like I think with a lot of people dealing with anxiety and depression these days is we become so isolated. That's why podcast, not only for entertainment purposes, easily available, but to be able to connect with people in a
Yeah.
way that we're not getting. The pandemic made it worse, right? So that same thing that Marshawn was lacking was just talking to his mom, connecting with his mom, whether in person or just in the conversation. He missed it. And then when he got it, he was like, that's what I was missing. A lot of people are missing this connection with people around them. They're around a lot of people sometimes, but they're totally alone. They got
Right.
nobody, you know what I'm saying? They feel alone, all that stuff. So that's a key thing. And maybe we could talk about it, moving forward or whatever, whenever it's organic or whatever. But that's a very important piece. I don't know if there's anything you want to add on onto that, and then I'll go
Yeah.
to the next piece.
Yeah. I'll definitely. I think it's something that I definitely want to bring up on the podcast, especially like you said, man. You may have 1,000 people around you, but you still feel alone and empty, a little emptiness inside, and especially with mental health. I think I had my little experience a couple weeks ago, and even when I talked to some people, they were like, "Whoa, you're the last person to be talking about this, or you're the last person I expected to be asking me about a certain situation." And then, the person goes, "Well, I usually call you
Right.
to help me out with certain things." And yeah, so I think definitely, I think we should have um, a discussion on mental health. And I think when you said, I can't remember exactly when it happened, but I know you and I had a conversation. Could have been like 2, 3 weeks ago, and you said nature versus nurture.
Right.
Like that stuck with me. Like I've been thinking about that, and I think that's something we probably I want to have that discussion on the podcast with someone who's been through the mental stuff and deals with it, has been dealing with it for 20 plus years. And I think that what you said to me was so profound that I started to think about it and, and see how I can uh, apply that to me. Um, and like you said, having a discussion or a podcast, that's what that does, you know because when you put it nature versus nurture, I was like, that's deep, because your
Right.
surroundings and the way you're brought up by someone, it affects how you see things and how you come up and how you react to things. So
Absolutely.
definitely, I think that's a conversation we need to have going forward, man.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one. Bring some couple other people in there and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But the other piece of it that I think is very important when I mentioned, Marshawn Lynch is a national treasure. If anyone else has an idea who's a national treasure, go ahead and post it on the chat. And maybe we could talk about it. But like Ryan Reynolds and Marshawn Lynch, right? And I was thinking, I was like, what makes people
Wait, 1 second. Sorry to cut you. You
okay?
keep saying, you mean Ryan Clark?
No, no, no. Ryan Reynolds, the Deadpool actor.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking. Okay, so I was
Yeah,
thinking the older guy, Ryan Reynolds, is I think that's his name too, right? With the stash, talking car.
Burt Reynolds.
Okay,
That's Burt Reynolds. Yeah, yeah, that's the '80s. Yeah, same Reynolds, but they're not related. But so
go on.
those two people. So I was thinking two things, right? My son says two things all the time, right? So this is my two things. One is what makes somebody that kind of special, right? So that's question one. The second question is it's probably the same thing. Is like, what is it about that person that we think that they're a national treasure? The first thing we think about is like they're entertaining, right? Like, or they have a quality about them that you're just like everything they do is gold, is 100% fire, right? You're
Hmm.
like Ryan Reynolds. Every movie he makes and just his personality is just gold, right? Marshawn, you can't hate Marshawn. And if you
Hmm.
do, you got to look inside and be like, what's wrong with me? Because you can't. At least from and the way he portrays himself is real. And I think that's where the root the I think when because I was doing this math in my head, right, and I was trying to figure this out. And I think the two comparisons for those two guys that I just talked about, Marshawn and Ryan Reynolds, and anybody else that you would consider a national treasure, they have this in common. They are, without a doubt, 100% like complete one of one themselves. They're not
Hmm.
trying to be anybody else, right? Marshawn is Marshawn, whether he's talking to the billionaire or he's talking to the fan or he's talking in the locker room. You're going to get Marshawn 100%. Marshawn's never going to think, I'm going to say this because of that. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm
Right.
just here so I don't get fined, right? Like, he's like, that's just, it wasn't a script. I didn't plan it. I just went because, I just said what was on top of my head. Ryan Reynolds, he's an actor. He probably idolized other actors, right? And he came out and he did Van Wilder. That's at least the first time I saw him. And I remember seeing him on Van Wilder, and I was like, this dude is amazing. His delivery, his tone, his timing, and just his little quips that he does, gold. And he's been
Mhm.
doing it. And when they casted him as Deadpool, I was like, nobody more perfect to do that character with that comedy spin, and he does it better than anyone else. And
Right.
he could be in an action flick, and he'll just give you a couple of them one-liners, gold. But the difference is they're 100% themselves. So what is that what that told me was, be 100% who you are. Don't be afraid of what other people are saying, because 9 times out of 10, those people that are, you know, talking down on you or making fun of you for being weird or being different, they
Right.
hate themselves way more. And they might even be jealous because you have the audacity to be as 100% you as possible. So they want to shut you down because of their own crab in the bucket type of mentality, or like, how dare he be that when I have to pretend and wear this mask? Don't
Right.
wear a mask. We wear enough masks out here. Be yourself and do your thing.
Yeah.
So
Be yourself, finding yourself. It's an amazing feeling too, though, man. Because like you said, it's not taxing on you. It's like you're not pretending to be this person because this
absolutely.
person's here. That takes a toll, man. Like you trying to be perfect, to please everybody else, and you're inside, you're hurting, you're crying, you're not
And you're
helping yourself
tired
out.
and you're
You
exhausted
get
because,
tired, man.
like, there's a quote. It's like, like, say for instance, if someone told me, hey, be more like Tech. Now I have to try. I
Yeah.
can't be 100% like Tech, right?
Yeah.
Only Tech can be 100% like Tech. I can be 50% like Tech, and that's work because you're going
Right.
against the grain of who you are. I could be
Yeah.
100% me, but we don't do that because of those things, the reasons that I said earlier. It's like people want to make fun of you, people want to tell you you're weird or you're odd or whatever the case is. Like, so what? Look at the people that are 100% themselves. They are treasures, national treasures. And I think it's
You
one of the
know,
reasons.
you know who's themselves? What's the singer from oh my god, John, the singer John with the glasses, uh the he's gay. What is his name? John.
You talk.
Oh my god.
You talking to Smith?
Oh
Sam Smith?
no, 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 John something. He's a singer, piano, older
Elton John.
guy.
Elton John.
Elton John.
Yeah.
Elton
Yeah.
John is the
Absolutely.
same wherever you see
Right.
that dude. It could be at a funeral. He's got his glasses. Like, this is who I am,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. No,
Yeah. There's a lot of people like that. And like I said, in the chat, for those that are watching this, now live, or watching it on a recast on YouTube or whatever, post in the chat who you think a national treasure is, and we'll see what's up.
yeah.
We'll communicate back in the chat. I know I do.
Also, if you just, in the comment section, let us know what motivates you, man. Because like what Gio said, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that he said. And, I just basically asked him that question just because we were talking about, the quarterback taking it one way or the other, and yeah, man, what motivates you guys, man? Let us know in the comment section as well.